everybody. Welcome to the TechRaptor podcast. I'm Robert Scarpanito, your features editor.
Andrew Rotten, editor-in-chief.
Rutland Choggett, site founder.
Andrew Stretch, Master Chief Petty Editor.
Because you're very petty.
Yeah.
Got it. We're going to talk about the Halo TV show later in this episode, and also a little bit of my time at Sandrock. So that'll be pretty exciting. And we will spoil Halo later on in this episode. So if that's something you're worried about, just giving you the heads up now so you know.
But first, and just so that you know to listen in too, because it's going to be great.
Oh yeah, probably. Here's the thing: half of us on the show have not seen anything past episode 1, kind of.
But you're gonna have to guess which two.
Yeah, it'll be hard to guess, I'm sure, because I'm the biggest fan of the Halo Chief. But first, let's get into some news. Sony has revealed a few more details about its PlayStation Double Plus, Triple Plus Good service update that's coming in June, where they're adding a ton more games as basically kind of a free asterisk part of the new service. Essentially, their competition with Game Pass is what's going on here. So you can go to their blog post, which we will probably link in the description or show notes if you want to check out what sort of games are in store if you upgrade your PlayStation Plus subscription in June. So we have the list in front of us. Any thoughts?
We should say that this is only a selection of the content. There's still more to be announced.
Right. Yeah.
I would hope so. I hope they're keeping the good stuff because not a lot of good stuff here.
Hey, Infamous.
Infamous is good. If nobody's played Infamous, it's one of the OG good superhero games.
Yeah.
So
not a lie.
Starting at the top, for the PS4, PS5 game catalog, they've got pretty much every game. If you're a PlayStation owner, you probably already have whatever games on this list you're interested in playing. It has that Nintendo vibe about it.
If you're looking for someone that just wants the modern stuff, it's pretty good. It hits them all. If you're just looking for the Sony stuff.
Right. This is for someone who maybe is joining the PlayStation ecosystem for the first time or only very recently joined.
Somewhere where this is a good value buy where I could only pick my one game or two game every once in a while. And so I've been wanting to play something. Yeah, I say that as someone who grew up that way where I was like, I'm poor. I'm just going to hang out at this video game store all day and beg them for games.
Yeah, because if you think about it, it does have a similar appeal that Game Pass does, right? Where it's a relatively low cost in that month. And look, you get access to The Last of Us Remastered. You get access to Marvel Spider-Man and Miles Morales. You get God of War 2018, Ghost of Tsushima. It's you get Knack, the Bloodborne, best game.
The Uncharted games.
Yeah, so there's a lot of value here. And we've constantly said on this podcast, Xbox Game Pass is good value, but what keeps Sony in the game is the quality of their first party
titles. They have a catalog
titles.
that's kind of other than Nintendo. Not a lot. It's crazy.
Yeah. So even though this catalog so far isn't as big as Game Pass, what's here is worth checking out for sure.
Yeah, for new PS4 owners, new PS5 owners, to be okay, got the new console, I'm gonna put down $20 and any game any game that would be the game that drives you to purchase the PS5 is likely on this list. So that's really cool to see.
I am thinking to myself, as a kid, I could totally sell a parent, be like, look, just pay this once or twice. You know how many fucking games I could play in a month as a kid? I'd be powering through that list of stuff.
And even the third-party PS4 and 5 games, it's a pretty good selection. If I remember right, I don't think Red Dead Redemption 2 was ever on Game Pass, but here
it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for a little while.
Gotcha. Well, it'll be here on the PlayStation Game Pass as well. You also got Outer Wilds, one of the best games of the year it came out, right?
That's also on Game Pass.
Well, yeah, that was on Game Pass for a while too, right? Valhalla.
It's getting some Ubisoft stuff that isn't there something with Ubisoft Plus or whatever the fuck they call their thing?
Yeah, Ubisoft Plus Classic or some shit like that. You've got Dead Cells, which I think was also on Game Pass. So now Dead Cells is just super duper accessible. I believe it's just
currently on Game Pass.
Yeah.
yeah, again, like even these games here, Batman Arkham Knight, Celeste is an incredible game. Control, huge game. Dead Cells, Far Cry, Final Fantasy 15. It's all fantastic content.
Oh, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, our game of the year last year. Hell yeah.
Great game. If you have not gotten to it yet, please do.
Mm-hmm. And so let's get into some of the classic offerings, right? Because I think it's interesting that they offer, like, there's a smaller list of where it's like the original PlayStation and PSP versions of the game. And then a slightly larger list that's like the remasters that were released on PS4. So you're playing like the PS4 remaster of Ape Escape 2 on your PS4 or 5 through this service, for example.
I mean, immediately the original PlayStation and PSP is pretty weak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Siphon Filter is kind of interesting. Ape Escape is pretty interesting. It's weird that they keep like the same way that Ape Escape 2, you know, is on the PlayStation 2 list, you know, air quotes. And it was also one of the 50 titles that was brought on when Sony wanted to try to make PS2 games on PS4 a thing, which they just stopped doing.
Right.
So it's funny, for something that they keep leaning so hard into the nostalgia for, where the hell's our new Ape Escape, Sony? I want a new Ape Escape.
Yes,
I want
please.
A gritty new
just
Ape
put
Escape.
Something out. Yeah, we want the
blood
From Software's Ape Escape.
Oh God,
That's what we want.
I'm getting on board with that. That might be the Dark Souls-esque game that I would actually finish and maybe play more than 40 minutes of.
There would be a precedent for Kojima to be working on an Ape Escape title.
Yeah. I mean, Ape Escape was a big part of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah. And Metal Gear Solid was a big part of Ape Escape 2 or 3.
I don't remember.
That was a great... Did you guys know about Measle Gear Solid?
No?
That there was a full mini game within, I think it was Ape Escape 3, that you were a monkey that had one of the hats, but the hat had been programmed with all of the knowledge of a like secret agent. And so the monkey was in like a gray stealth suit, had an eye patch, and you went around levels with your like banana gun silencer. They pretty much just like partially like remade / made a parody of the first Metal Gear Solid inside Ape Escape.
I love that. That's amazing.
Here for that.
Same. And that sounds like something Kojima would write too, if you think about it.
Oh, 100%.
If someone didn't know about Metal Gear Solid and you told them, yeah, Ape Escape is a spin-off from Metal Gear, you totally could sell that to somebody.
Oh, probably. Yeah. And I think we talked a few weeks ago about like there were those leaks, right? Or that hinted that we would see Mr. Driller, Worms games, and Tekken 2 in this list, and here they are, right? God, boy howdy, I cannot wait to play fucking Tekken 2.
Of all the Tekkens,
June.
thank God.
Yeah, fuck Tekken 7. That's over now. It's Tekken 2.
I wonder if this is going to be like a prelude, because I think they only announced Siphon Filter 1 here on this post, but we also saw information for all of the other Siphon filters as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they threw on some more Tekkens as well.
Maybe. I mean, it's like Tekken is always good, but yeah.
My question is, where's the original Armored Core? I feel like memories? Just in this list, like it'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of this list. I mean, it's kind of hard to say too hard, like, oh, it's lacking, because, you know, it's not the full list yet, right? Like, we don't know what else is hiding in the PlayStation vault.
It's just one of those with like the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 libraries are just so fucking wild and kind of unmatched. It's just kind of like, man, there's so much there, so much rich stuff to pull from. Can't help but feel like, damn, missing out.
Yeah, because I remember we talked about like, oh, the PlayStation 1 and 2 were like the JRPG machines, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Not really
looking
seen
at
any.
Yeah, like there's Ark the Lad, Dark Cloud, Rogue Galaxy, Wild Arms 3. You know, I mean, it's a fine list, right? But like, no, I mean, not even any Final Fantasies so far. Not even Legend of Dragoon or Dragon Quest. It's like, I don't know. It just seems like, yeah, there's not that much going on yet for the classic games catalog, which I'd imagine a lot of people would want to come here for.
Yep.
I think so, and I think they've got to have a decent amount of data on like what classic stuff people wanted, because there was a lot of the like most popular games from those libraries were available to buy as classic games like PS3. I'm trying to look it up real quick, but I think I read somewhere that if you did buy something that comes to this service, you can get it on your PS5. So like if you bought it with your account for your PS3 or 4, you can get it on your PS5 if it's coming to the service at some point. But I've got to double check that, which is pretty rad because there's all kinds of stuff that I bought that I don't have now unless I plug in my PS3 and use it. So to have it all in one place would be pretty cool.
Yep.
Which seems so insane to be like, this is cool when it should be that way from the fucking beginning. But like, anyway, it's nice that they're potentially doing that finally.
Yeah, I agree. And it'd finally be the like the step toward backwards compatibility.
A little bit, yeah, further towards it anyway.
Yeah. I'm looking through the PS3 list now, and as a reminder too, these PS3 games, like PS3 only games, can only be streamed. So it's only in select countries that you can get that with the ultimate version, right? If there is no streaming offered in your country, then you go down to PlayStation Deluxe, I think is what that tier is, where you don't get access to these PS3 games at all. And that's where you would miss out on like Infamous 1 and 2, Festival of Blood, Resistance 3.
Hey, why not?
Just 3. Tokyo Jungle, which would be kind of sad because you get to play as a Pomeranian in a post-apocalyptic world and beat the shit out of things.
I think Tokyo Jungle was already on PlayStation Now.
Was it?
All of these games are already on PlayStation. Well, were already on PlayStation Now, but that's now
it makes sense. I mean, since we're like combining it into one thing now, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think like really of this, what we're seeing is like actually new for us is the PlayStation 1 and the single PlayStation portable game. But I think everything else has been available in one way or another.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, overall, I guess, question to the table. Are you whelmed? Over? Under?
I think like it's hard to say. We're in such a weird position. Like I was thinking about, someone posted the dumb thing in our Slack yesterday about a bunch of classic games, like how many you've played, and like I played all of them, and I'm like, so I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy for this. It was like 60 something games. I'm like, oh yeah, I've played every single one of those. So like anything on here, I've probably played, but I'm looking at it like it's a decent mix of like. A relatively decent mix of like some classic stuff that is definitely worth checking out if you're at all interested in like the history of games or learn about where certain things come from, or just some are just good games on their own.
Yeah, it checks all the boxes, which is good.
Yeah.
It still is missing a lot of stuff, but to me,
like it meets the minimum expectations, but it's not like blow it out of the water, you know.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like what you're getting with those JRPGs missing earlier. Like that was really what, especially a PS1 in particular, like that's what that machine was made for. Like it was jam packed full of so many of those, and as we've talked about a couple times, like even just recently in podcasts, like everybody's got that one that they really liked. So there's all kinds of little obscure ones that have their own little cult followings, but there's so many of them that bring something weird to the table. It'd just be interesting to see some more of those crop up.
Azure Dreams.
What?
Yeah, that one.
Didn't even understand what you said there.
Azure Dreams is one of those PS1 games that, for whatever reason, absolutely loved it, but it was definitely kind of weird.
Yeah. But like we said, like you've said a few times, like this list is supposed to get quite a bit bigger. Because when they originally pitched it, and they say it's 400 something games, like when they originally said it or something, like announced it.
Yeah, it was like 460
something like
classic
that. Yeah.
games. The classic games including PlayStation, PSP, PlayStation 2, and I think even PlayStation 3. Oh yeah, and 3 and 4. Yeah.
So this is obviously missing like hundreds of games. So the chances of those stuff showing up is probably pretty good.
If you take what's already in the current PS Now library, which is honestly it's about 250, 300 games, then you add the PS4 games that they said there would be at least 100 PS4 games. Then when you kind of like subtract, like assuming that it's going to be like 1-to-1, they're just going to move everything from PlayStation Now over to the service.
Yeah.
In the end, I think it broke down to there being somewhere between 60 to 80 of the classic titles. So that's either PlayStation 1, PSP, or PS2 games. So yeah, as we have this list of, like 10 PlayStation titles, 1 PlayStation portable title, and another 10 PS2 titles, we're still probably going to see this list triple, if not quadruple, but it'll also be, what's the quality of that list? Some of like the big hits of the PlayStation 1 era, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon. I wonder whether that will even be something that they'll be able to get.
Because they're under Xbox now.
Yeah, weirdly enough. They're now Xbox mascots.
Yes.
Interesting. Although it seems like
going to be potentially.
Xbox of anybody seems more willing to work with someone to let them have stuff like that.
That's true.
So,
yeah, I guess, if we do see...
Wouldn't be surprised.
If we do see, you load up Crash Bandicoot 1 on your PlayStation 5 and the Xbox logo shows up before it.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, it'll be MLB The Show and Crash Bandicoot. They're going to swap places, basically. Right?
Yeah.
Because when you boot up MLB The Show on Xbox, it starts off with PlayStation Studios.
That does make like that Uncharted 4 scene way weirder, like when they're playing Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll just circle back. I found an article that did confirm that if you're someone that already bought like classic PS1 or PSP games that are coming to this service, even if you don't have PS Plus, you can download those games onto your console for free.
I wonder.
So you've already bought them.
I wonder if that will also count the original PlayStation stuff.
What do you mean?
Or sorry, I wonder if that will mean that those are going to be like on sale. Like
I wonder that too, because obviously they're going to have their own little spot. It seems.
Yeah, the specific wording is, if you've already purchased it, then you can do X, Y, Z, and it's like, well, what if I didn't purchase it on the PSP store back in the day?
Yeah.
But I would like to now, because that's also, I wouldn't pay for this. At the moment, I wouldn't be inclined to pay for this service.
Same.
But if I could buy Ape Escape for $6,
yeah, I don't see why they
service.
wouldn't do that. Like if you're getting best of both worlds. So people that are buying just single games and people that are getting in on the service. So why not?
Yeah, I guess it just the history of that is in the PS Now-ness of like all these PS3 games that you can't purchase, but you can stream. Yeah. But then that also falls down to you need to do that streaming anyway, and that's where the subscription aspect comes in.
Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting too that like the subscription will also get you those limited time trials, right? For like those, like you can play a little bit of Horizon Forbidden West or Tiny Tina's
demo discs.
Demo discs.
Remember demos, guys?
That's part of a service instead of just they should just have that anyway. Particularly with something Horizon Forbidden West, you could put a 3-hour demo and people don't even scratch the surface of that fucking game.
It takes me 10 hours to get to the game.
Yeah, the prologue's that long.
Actually, there was in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, you could play 30-minute timed demos of a bunch of the games that they originated from. There's been people who have speedran Ocarina of Time within
that's pretty good.
Within Super Smash Bros. Brawl,
I believe
and
it.
gotten to the end credits.
That's
I
great.
mean, yeah, I believe it.
They got their money's worth from that.
Yeah.
One of his coolest things, thinking of his demo disc, he's got a Final Fantasy VII PS1 demo disc. That's really cool. I was like, damn. So before it came out,
Back in the day.
oh yeah, remember those?
They're also saying that they're adding, not achievements, trophies to these games.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, to classic games. Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Which they did with some of the PS2 games they released on PS4.
Yeah, that kind of worries me.
Oh, I thought you would be excited.
Does it worry you that they're adding it, or that you're going to get addicted to unlocking every single achievement in the PS1 and PS2 era?
What worries me is that it's not like they can, they can have some kind of like an emulation wrapper around the game and then just like push it out. That by needing to add that much more manpower in, because Sony historically at this point, we've seen them, take those steps with PS2 games for PS4, but only publish 50 of them and then move on. That if it's going to be something of that we want to get trophies in all of the games, all of the retro games that we push out, it's either going to be really shallow trophies based on things that are like trackable in a save file, the triggers would be or like beat this level, get all the gems in this level, get to this part in the story. They may be really
that's what I was about to say. Isn't that what most achievements and trophies tend to be?
You get that for a lot, but then you get all of the ones that are like do things in a certain interesting way, like for like Half-Life 2, the Noam Chomsky achievement, carrying the garden gnome all the way through a level. That's unless there's like a certain flag in a save file, or like however they would be able to track that, they would need to have that trigger to be able to get it to work. I'm not sure how deep they'll be able to get with those kinds of triggers. And then also just if whatever team is behind this or behind implementing the trophies means that they need to go in, create a trophy list, make sure that it works, do testing, do QA, put it all together and get that out. What will that mean for the speed of classic games being added, as well as, Sony's willingness to keep putting money into that part of the process?
Well, if history's shown us anything, I'm sure they're going to keep working at this, keep picking at that pile, all the way through the PS6 even.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what service comes for the next console to get all the stuff you already bought.
Yeah, it's just like it's a weird little niche worry of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think it's a fair concern that I think you're probably right that they're going to be the bare bones achievement or trophies. I wouldn't expect them to get too crazy with it.
Yeah, I'd love to be pleasantly surprised though.
Yeah, that as well. I would love for Sony to absolutely shock me.
I don't care if they did say it's too much work and they get rid of them.
Good pace. Yeah, or it's just something that gets like really hit or miss. Like, hey, we put trophies in Ape Escape, but IQ Intelligent Cube we didn't bother about. Like, maybe it's just like they'll pick and choose the big stuff.
Yeah.
But then that kind of like dilutes the importance of them. I don't know.
Well, it makes you wonder too, like if I wonder if part of it'll come to like, if it's a third party game, are they going to be involved in that process at all?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that Bandai Namco Entertainment currently wants to do zero work whatsoever at making Tekken 2 compatible on a PS5.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the majority of that workload is in Sony's court.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. But what I'm more of getting at is I wonder if these trophies and stuff will be more of like a first-party Sony thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're more likely to be on them than on a third-party game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do worry about people like you, Stretch, and Rut. Like, if they add trophies to everything, are you both going to be okay? Or are you going to feel the pressure to, I have to go through every game in this catalog and platinum them?
Actually, because of how poorly, well, not how poorly, how incredibly hacked the PS3 got, and the ability for people to just add, like, you know, plug in an account and like add whatever trophies they wanted. Since the days of the PS3, the trophy system for me has always felt tarnished. So I've never given a fuck about trophies, but I will totally go for achievements if they're like within reason.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like whether or not they add it is whatever for me, you know, like just like with modern day trophies and achievements, I don't really care enough about them. But
I want to turn off the notification that I got one. That's where I'm at with them.
Fair. Okay, I think that's some good talk on the PS Plus update. I think we're gonna really get our hands on them in the next month. So we'll probably, like, this will be an evolving story. I imagine, you know, we'll see more come out about it, and as some of us maybe get our hands on it, we might have some more thoughts on the idea. But I think we should move on to talk about my time at Sandrock, shall we?
Yeah.
Where you guys are trapped right now.
We are trapped in Sandrock. No, we've been playing a lot of this game. If you haven't heard of it, it's the sequel to My Time at Portia, which is this, imagine a Stardew Valley-like game, but instead of farming, you're a builder. So you build shit around the town. You're a big city person, moved to small town, and you build shit to help the town get better. My Time at Sandrock's a sequel to that, and it's set in like a desert city, like with a small oasis. So like water's an issue. So a lot of the things you're building are related to like water supply and trade for survival. Rut and I have been playing a lot of this, and we have a few people on staff who've also been playing a lot. Rut, do you want to give us some of your thoughts? What are you thinking about the game so far?
Yeah, so I really, really liked Portia. So stepping into Sandrock, I was looking forward to something new. But I've been very pleasantly surprised by how much they kept from Portia that was kind of solid mechanics, and then some of the changes they've made to like enhance and improve upon what they already had. And it's just like, it's such a delightful game. I ended up emailing the PR person, and I was like, this is the most delightful game. Because I was just having such a nice time exploring, and the everybody's kind of got their own story. But it's, I mean, if you like kind of that like slice of life, slow paced, chill games where you can kind of just do whatever you want, the My Time At series is just phenomenal in terms of building relationships within like the town or whatever, dungeon diving, collecting resources, building stuff. Like there's just so much you can kind of do that it's really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, and I think something I really like about that game compared to Stardew is there's this small aspect of like almost like a factory builder. Like it's not quite full on factory built. You're not dealing with conveyor belts or whatever, but there's something in your mind where you're kind of having to juggle like, okay, if it takes 4 minutes for that to smelt and 3 minutes for this to build, what can I do in that time to be the most efficient? Mm-hmm. Right? Like you're part of the factory as well. But it doesn't get as complex as like Factorio or anything like that. So you're not going to be like bogged down in process. It's more like it just kind of tickles that part of your brain where it's like, okay, what little thing can I do to squeeze out more resource or like to do just a few things a little better? That sort of thing.
Well, like if I start smelting all this stuff, do I have time to run over to the dungeon and collect more ores or whatever?
Right. Or what?
Or
what?
Or what?
Oh my God.
You know, like rock
rock, copper, iron.
Shiny rock.
You just
Wait,
stopped your
Dwayne
sentence
Johnson
in
is
the
in
middle.
this?
Yeah, The Rock is in this.
He's in everything.
Well,
God,
there is
take
a guy
break.
named guy named Rocky who is built kind of like Dwayne Johnson.
He's the one that's getting arrested for wire fraud, right?
Yep.
Also, there's a cat named Captain.
I fucking love Captain.
Who he wanders the town and does his own little thing, but he eventually gets promoted to deputy of the town, and he gets a little hat.
And he's called
pretty
Deputy
great.
Captain.
Deputy Captain.
Deputy Captain.
Yeah.
Deputy Captain the cat. Yeah, there's a lot of fun characters in this. At first I thought I would really hate Penn. There's a guy dressed up in a superhero getup, and his name's Penn. And he's really douchey. He's very like, oh haha, I'm the strongest in town. I can punch the shit out of you. And then he always says like the pen's mightier than the sword, which I'm like, ugh, I hate this guy.
I love him.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He grows on you, and you're like, dang it, I do kind of like him though.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
Yeah, each character has like a very distinct personality. And the more you talk to them and you give them gifts and stuff like that, you kind of pick up on that.
Much. I don't know how many more muches I can throw in there. Better versions than Animal Crossing characters. Then.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
Animal Crossing sucks compared to this.
You will not see a best of and worst of from us.
Because they're all the best.
It's the best and worst of Animal Crossing. Those are still some of our most commented pages because people get very angry about that.
Yeah.
Right,
And they all don't realize is they all suck.
They're all the worst. Is the real secret of it all.
Yeah, they're all awful.
Yeah.
So what's the big thing that like sets this apart? You know, for someone who did have experience in my time at Porsche, like what are the big new things that work or even don't work for Sandrock?
I think one of the big things is a lot of the little things. There are a lot of small quality of life changes that just make things so much easier. Like, for example, if your mission is like, oh no, our water tank broke, can you please fix it, right? Then that becomes a mission in your mission log. Mm-hmm. And if you select it, then all of your crafting stations have a tab in them that's like, like they filter out just the things you need to build the water tank.
And if you select them, it selects it at the number exactly that you need.
Right. Yeah. So even if it's craft multiple of this thing, like you don't have to do too much math in your head. It's just like bam, bam, bam. That's it. I'm doing the thing I need to do, set all these machines to do the thing. And then I'm out. I can go collect resources or talk to people in town and things like that. If I remember right too, I don't think the first game had that auto sort thing where all of your chests are connected. So you only need to go to one chest and you can tab through all the chests on your property. And there's a button you can hit that's just like, I want to dump everything from my inventory that has a duplicate in the chest to that stack. So you don't have to like
so nice.
Worry. Yeah.
Yeah, and the research system's a little different. So like in Porsche, you would give the research center data disks and then you really had no idea what you were going to get back. In Sandrock, you can pick and choose, like, okay, this is what I want to spend data disks on for research. Like, I want the next grade of smelter or whatever.
Or tanning rack or...
Exactly. Yeah. So that was nice. I'm trying to think what else. I really like the... they've really made no changes to the like contract system at all. I thought that was well done in Porsche, so not much change there in terms of, you know, every day you can get a new and complete a new contract for not only money but also workstation experience, so that you can climb the ranks or whatever, and then at the end of the year, if you're in the top 3, you get a bunch of stuff.
It sounds like they've chopped out a lot of like the
unnecessary fluff.
Yeah, the unnecessary fluff, like the data entry part of it, kind of like
the minutia.
It sounds like that they've just like really been like, keep playing the game.
Yeah,
like,
basically.
Don't worry about this other stuff. We'll deal with that behind the scenes. Here you go. Here's the game.
Yeah, and I think too, there's something to consider. That's like, I think games like this, these life simulator type games like Harvest Moon and even Animal Crossing, even though I'm not a fan of it personally, that they're like, even if there isn't that much that changes between the games, there's a new town, there's a new group of villagers to get to know, and like that in and of itself is an engaging and enticing enough reason to like, I want to check out the new game because I want to meet the new wild crazy characters that they've come up with, right?
Well, so there's legitimate progression too. Like,
yeah,
you know, you could not go over to the second delving area until the bridge got destroyed, and you have to help rebuild it. And
so it's a Metroidvania, is what you're saying.
It is. You get a grapple hook. You get the bigger gun. You actually do get guns in this game.
You do. Yeah, there is a pistol.
There are guns. Yeah. And also, like, you know, sword and shield, daggers. You know, the combat, I would say, is pretty straightforward. Basic. Yeah, it's not like you're not putting in God of War combos or anything like that. Yeah, it gets the job done.
And right now, a lot of the skill trees locked too. So there's more stuff. I'm guessing that'll come on launch day, but at least according to PR, not much is going to change. So
yeah, because at the moment it's early access, right?
Yeah,
it'll be going into early access. So
I think it's more that those things will be added as they develop, because that's the thing too to keep in mind, right? Is that we're talking about a game that we're playing an early build of, and then even when it quote unquote launches, I think Wednesday. That's still going to be an early build, right? That just everyone else can purchase and play. But if you're wary about early access, I'll say, like, I usually am too. There is enough here that feels pretty like you can see the edges, but you have to go a long way before you get up to the edge, you know, like,
yeah,
there's a lot to dig into.
The map is massive, and outside of what they've already prepared is just blank.
Can you guys tell us what your current playtime is?
Like 60 hours.
Jesus.
I'm at like 22, but you're guiding, right?
To be fair, I'm helping with guides. I'm literally running in circles around the town, giving people gifts to figure out what people like. So we have a giant spreadsheet, and there's like 5 of us working on it. So
okay,
so if you want to fall in love with Elsie or Mion or whoever, go to TechRaptor.net, where we have a ton of guides so you know exactly what to give them.
Yeah, so what to give them to make them love you.
So yeah, I mean, if you're seeing the edges, but you're 20 hours in, that's pretty all right for an early access title.
It's pretty polished too. I haven't run into too many bugs. There's like an AI bug right now where certain villagers are just literally in the same spot every single day. They don't move. There's like a bug with their pathing. And then there's something for me, I don't know if you ran into this, where I can't rent a horse.
I can't either.
So I think one of the quests is bugged or something. But beyond that, like, everything else is solid. The dungeons work, exploration works, and all the different systems that are kind of like core components are done and working. It's just, I think I hit the end of the preview, I think about 20 hours.
Yeah, like there's a story.
It's like you're done with all of the story stuff.
Right.
But you can keep literally just keep going. The events will keep happening. You can keep like doing contracts and stuff and getting to know the villagers. So
yeah. And I'll say too, I've been playing this on the Steam Deck, which has been an interesting experience because, you know, we got our hands on these codes pretty early in the process. Like the devs have been pushing out a ton of updates during the time we've had the build, which is it's interesting to see that because I don't think we get that too often. And I think if you own a Steam Deck on launch, the performance will be pretty good. I think like it's not going to be a smooth 60, but you'll get a solid 30. Like keep it on low. But it was interesting to see like the first few days where I had the build and I played it on the Steam Deck, it was pretty choppy, right? But then like over time with the updates, like even now I'm seeing market improvements, and it's just kind of fascinating to see that like in real time, right? Like it gets truly better and better with each update.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of optimization passes for sure.
So I mean, it sounds like if you're someone who enjoyed Porsche you should enjoy Sandrock.
I think so.
Yeah.
It is more of the same and better.
It's
far.
worth early investment for sure.
Agreed.
And then, for people who are looking to get in, looking to meet the town and everything, what's something that now, or that like you've had to invest in, like at the point where you're like 20 hours into the game, that you wish you knew earlier? Like, is there any, if you could go back and say to yourself an hour into the game, hey, keep an eye on this. Or if there's nothing like that.
I would say, even though they kind of make the contract sound optional, do one every day. Like even if you're like, oh, I can't do the really big one, so I just skip it. Like, do the easy one. Even if it feels like 10 gold isn't worth it, it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Especially at the end of the season, the end of the year, when you get kind of the final workshop stuff. You get money, you get water, you get diamonds, which are super important for some of the really high level crafting stuff. Also, like gift giving. There's a lot of villagers that really like diamonds. Unsurprisingly, one dude, RVO, that he seems like a snake oil salesman. He got real excited about the diamond and how much he could sell it for. So I mean, I thought I'd be hilarious.
Excited if a random stranger gave me a diamond too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but then would you tell him, thank you, I'm going to sell this now?
Yeah.
I mean, probably. Like, what else can I do?
I mean, if I thought that I could like maybe cut him in for a little and get more diamonds down the road, maybe I'm gonna break bad.
So Stretch asked the really helpful question, but I'm going to ask the important question for this game. And which one is your Pan Am of this one?
Oh yeah, right. Do you have a Pan Am? Do you have a wife who has
Pan Am in this one? Who?
That was a very fast response.
Yeah. I kind of had a feeling.
As soon as you knew Pan Am, as soon as you said Pan Am, I knew where you were going. So that's my thing.
Amira, she's the pot maker lady, right?
Sculptor, yeah.
Sculptor,
so there's drugs in this too? Wow.
Yeah,
progressive.
She makes weed. Just handcrafts some weed,
What kind of things does she sculpt?
I mean, Fang, who's like the doctor, he has like a weekly thing where you can go over and take a mystery medicine. So he doesn't tell you what it was, but
he doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah,
he just doesn't talk to you.
You can you'll go walk up to him and be like, "Here's a gift," and he's like, "Don't give me anything," and you're like, "Whoa, okay."
Like but all good doctors should do.
He has like a talking raven or crow, right? Yeah.
So that's the mountain you have to climb, right?
What was that?
You have to climb that mountain you got to befriend him.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole game.
Whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my time at Sandrock, coming to early access this week. If you're interested, would highly recommend. Like it's scratching that same itch that Stardew Valley, that Harvest Moon, that all those other like life sim type games.
Well, you probably sold me on it because I've got too much time in Stardew Valley.
It's just in the music and the ambiance. It's just super chill. Like there's no stress behind any of it. It's very just like, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want and explore. I'm gonna go, oh fuck it, I'll go over to the dungeon, or I'm gonna go beat the shit out of some yak males to get their fur. Like whatever.
That description of that is like, this is like fucking video games, man.
Yeah. You can do all sorts of shit.
The heffalumps and woozles later.
Yeah. Yep. Just like, I'm gonna go kill some fucking zoogles, yeah.
There's an enemy called the Rocket Rooster. It's a rooster that just shoots like bottle rockets at you as an attack. And then
games are good.
There's another one that's like a kangaroo type thing, and it's got like fucking boxing gloves.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
I mean, Tekken did it first.
It's called a boxing jack.
Yeah.
KO making a cameo appearance.
I only just realized that's how you're supposed to pronounce that.
KO.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Is that really how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Oh, we think he was like cow or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. When have I ever said that name out loud?
What? The boxing kangaroo? His name is KO.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I know that now. Only reason I realized it is that Joe on our staff, he reviewed the recent remaster or game or whatever it was.
Yeah.
and I was filling in for Sam, so I was editing it, and he put that in there. He's like, I just realized that. And I'm like, holy shit. I just realized that reading this.
Jesus.
KO the kangaroo.
All right. Well, hey, speaking of knockouts.
Don't give me that
Scrappy's
shit.
ruined forever.
It's
a little
spelled
bit.
KAO. Who the fuck
yeah,
is
there's no
thinking
hyphen
KO?
or anything.
Yeah. There's no way that's your first reaction.
How was your first reaction to reading that and thinking, they named the kangaroo Cow?
They named the tiger Ty.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, Ty the Tasmanian tiger.
yeah, it's just dumb name.
KO the boxing kangaroo.
Yeah,
we don't need this conversation to get. We don't need this conversation to get too banal.
Yeah. Let's talk about another full-on knockout. Let's talk about the Halo TV
Weird
series.
how much stuff your stuff's around banal.
Yeah. So, if you have not finished the Halo TV series and you care about it for some reason, probably would recommend hopping off here. We're glad that you listened. But
come back after you watch it all.
Yeah, come back after you watch it all, and you just want to you need someone to just commiserate in your misery with, I mean, I don't even know. I haven't seen the ending. I just popped in on episode 8 when I saw the headlines of Master Chief fucks. But Rhett, Stretch, you're both big Halo fans. You finished the Halo TV series on Paramount Plus.
It's so fucking weird. You could, and this is where I'm going to start with the spoilers. You could say, "Oh, haha, the Halo series. Yep, Master Chief fucks and he dies at the end," and someone would think that you were just joking. But no.
Oh, he dies at the end.
Oh, and to clarify,
yeah,
he fucks a prisoner of war.
Yes,
which takes it to a whole nother level. Like, she is literally a prisoner of war.
Well, and isn't she also I forget the word for it, but she can touch the artifact and it does the things.
Yeah, and they both
she
make
is
weird
also
faces as they do it. A little orgasmic. Yeah.
I know this is about him getting feelings, but it's settle down, Chief.
It's the entire premise of Halo as a franchise is that Master Chief is a human who has been so augmented, so brainwashed, so damaged that he acts like a robot, and Cortana is his North Star, his guiding light, his fucking Jiminy Cricket.
Right.
That it is the AI who has enough humanity and the war-made machine that is a human, and they completely flip the dynamics.
Yep.
It's at a core concept story level, everything is wrong. It's very unique, and
that's so dumb.
Parts
that's
that are
the cool
interesting
part about Halo.
But to have Master Chief standing there out of armor, trying to appeal to the common decency of the other Spartans about how he learned that they were all kidnapped as children. And it's
so he's just Finn. He's Finn from Star Wars. That's what Master Chief is now. He's just Finn from Star Wars.
Well, that's why they call Finn Master Trooper at the end of episode 9.
Got it.
Yeah, I understand that it is a alternate timeline. And there are sequences that are very good. The last episode, probably the best one in terms of, choreography. The fight at the end was pretty freaking sweet. But there's so many things where I understand they want to be separate from the games, and that's totally cool. But there were a lot of instances where I was just sitting there what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate? Do you mean there's too much on the screen going on, or more how is this story happening?
How is this story happening?
Too much fucking going on.
There's too much fucking going on. Yeah. It's like the Makee, who she's a human who was captured by the Covenant at a young age because they have these so Master Chief and Makee both have this innate ability to interact with the artifacts that will lead you to Halo. And the way that the elites find it is this scepter that glows which was weird to me, where it's like a fucking metal detector for the Halo ring. And that's how they found her as a child. I thought that was really fucking weird.
That's not in the game.
It's got they're taking a page from George Lucas where it rhymes. It's the same kind of backstory as Master Chief. They rhyme.
Yeah,
it's poetry.
It's there's just things that I'm just like, why? I don't know. I will say I enjoyed watching it just to watch it.
Yeah.
But it did not for me click in any way, shape, or form that this is Halo. The battle scenes, I was like, fuck yeah, this is Halo. But all of the other stuff, even like the politics, just felt weird. It was hyper focused on Halsey, who is a shitty human being in the game and the show. But it just, I don't know. Can we have Sergeant Johnson in season 2, please?
Is he the new Master Chief?
No, I need Sergeant Johnson. He's one of the best parts of Halo 2.
That's not what Master Chief said in that scene.
But yeah, no, I think I definitely agree with Rut that, like, I watched every episode. It kind of almost it walked a very fine line between being close enough to be recognizable as Halo and being so wild, batshit out there that it was very easy to separate it and appreciate it for what it was. The action scenes, when they got to action scenes, were really good, really Halo, solid choreography. It was fantastic to see, Spartans picking up and throwing humans around. They got a lot of the feel correct there, but then to have Master Chief standing butt ass naked, pulling out his suppressant Johnson chip.
Oh, that too.
And I did find a lot of the Master Chief reacting to finding out that he was stolen as a child interesting. Just watching Halsey be a complete piece of shit human being, and getting away with it in the end, quote unquote. But yeah, it was it was so far separated that it at no point was the TV show giving me Uncanny Valley. It wasn't too close enough to the source material that it felt weird and wrong. Maybe watching the Ratchet and Clank movie was this is 80% the exact same thing. So it's a little bit weird. I see the key points. But this just went completely against expectations, but in an okay way. I'm looking forward to season 2. I think if you asked me to pinpoint why, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to it just because I'm curious what's next. I think that as a whole, the story, if Halo the game did not exist, the novels did not exist, maybe it would make more sense. But knowing what we know, being hardcore Halo fans for years and years, and following the story and reading the books, a lot of it just feels weird.
But, it's so far detached as well that I feel like you could almost replace UNSC with this and Spartans with a different type of super soldier, and the Covenant with some generic alien race. And I think I would say, oh, this is oddly similar to Halo, but I'll watch it. I don't think that if I saw it under a different name, I would call copyright infringement.
Yeah.
And yeah, they do leave Master Chief in a weird place where this Cortana can literally take over his entire body and mind, shoving him out of his own brain.
Well, yeah, that was the weird part too. Is she is a part of him as opposed to an augmentation in terms of he slides her into his helmet. She's literally implanted in his brain and nervous system or whatever.
She's inside him.
Yeah, she's literally inside him. So that was kind of weird. I don't like the end of the show. He literally dies, and she just takes over. That's
worse.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought like when you said he dies.
Ask when he dies. What's that mean?
Yeah, I didn't realize that means Cortana's going to puppeteer his body.
Basically, what it is that if Chief touched the alien relic, then he would go to like a dream plane where like he would appear on the Halo, but that would make him useless in combat. So the only option they had was for him to tell Cortana, like, shunt me out of my own brain. I trust you that you can bring me back. Because if her brain takes over his brain, then it won't activate the
Halo thing.
Yep.
Which tells us that, you know, the Halo thing has to do something with nothing physical whatsoever, but is somehow intrinsically like linked to his soul. I don't know. So
it's very strange.
So it is that like he's getting the shit kicked out of him in battle, and he needs to rescue the Spartan team and also get this relic away. At one point they say like, oh, you know, rescue the relic, save the world. You know, very Heroes-esque. And so it ends with like Chief just goes silent as Cortana takes over his body, beats the bad guys, evacs the people, and gets the relic away.
So would this mean
that's
in
where they
season
left it.
2, when we see Chief and he's like fully suited up, is he going to talk with Cortana's voice? Is that
we don't know.
Also, the weird
he
part
hasn't
is
spoken since,
because Cortana is not just in the armor like in the games, but she's like in his body. He could be walking around butt-ass naked with Jen Taylor's voice potentially. Like,
yeah.
So is it now? Is they're flipping the script? Is going to be Chief is now some kind of weird fucking soul AI thing that's going to have to get his body.
I hope not. I'm sure
he'll be back in the first episode, but
Deus Ex Machina back into his body, episode 1.
But you are telling me that an official Halo property has officially gender bent Master Chief for at least a little bit. Who knows how long, but
what's that? Rule 36?
Something like that.
Yeah, I will say too that last episode, the fact that that was Atriox. He was fighting it at the end, and he shot him in the face in the exact same spot that he has like messed up in Infinite. So that was interesting to see. They're like, we're nothing like the games, but we're gonna bring this character back, and you know,
like they have the
Halo
prophets
Infinite.
and stuff.
Yeah, well, and the prophets look like just as much of ball sacks as they do in the game. So
I cannot believe that there has also been zero tie-in with the games.
That is mind-blowing to me also. I thought for sure.
Like, we're on Reach.
Yeah. Like, it just... in terms of, like, promotional content and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, releasing... Like, the final... where they have their final skirmish is, like, the top of a sandy mountain with a whole bunch of, like, alien constructs with a, you know, shrine in the center and a cave system underneath that a whole bunch of elites swarm out. Like, why was that not like, hey, season finale's happening, also this is now a firefight map?
Yeah.
Like,
it just seems like there has been so many opportunities, or like bringing over armor pieces or this or that. It's just the fact that there has not been a single in-game promotion from the live service game, the free-to-play multiplayer live service game, Halo Infinite, with the Halo TV show that has been trying to get off the ground for 14 years.
That's a good point.
So weird.
Well, it's such an obvious thing. I think when we first talked about the show on the podcast, that was one of our things. We're like, I wonder what kind of tie-in stuff they're going to do. It wasn't if they're going to do it, it's what it will be.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've done nothing is very crazy to me.
It makes me wonder if could it be that the show is a Microsoft thing and 343 just wants nothing to do with it?
maybe. But like, there's the Obi-Wan series coming out next week, and so Obi-Wan is appearing in Fortnite.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that's two completely different companies, and yeah, I guess different agendas. And honestly, 343 working through all of the issues that they're currently dealing with public reception to Infinite multiplayer may mean that there might have been plans that had to be scrapped.
Maybe.
Well, they're pushing a big update this week.
But you figure with how long it took for the show to come out, because like you said, it's been talked about for almost a decade and a half.
Years. Yeah.
And, Infinite was even delayed. So it's like, okay, if we can get something on the back burner maybe for that. Like, they had a longer time with that than they had originally planned.
Yeah.
Also. So it's just kind of wild.
It may just be that they're like too far separate an entity for anything to have been able to work out.
But I can't imagine that someone that's not in charge wasn't thinking like, hey, we should get these two together somehow.
Well, they even had it that Game Pass members got a month of Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like
Halo.
That's like the most they did, right? Like it seems in terms of connecting the two.
It's definitely yeah.
The lead actor who played John,
Pablo Schreiber.
Yeah. All I could see, he looks so much like his brother. All I could see was X-Men's Sabretooth.
Oh.
That's if you've at all been watching Halo and been like, man, his face is fucking familiar. It just every single time he took off the helmet, I'm like, Sabretooth, is that you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
I didn't make that connection till now.
It's difficult to say whether I would or would not recommend the Halo show to someone. I 100% recommend the last episode and episode 4 or 5. The other one with the big skirmish.
Big combat, yeah.
But then the episode after the big combat, Master Chief wasn't in it. They just focused on the insurrectionist desert town and what was going on there, and then they just resolved that plot point, and then no character from that part of the story even showed up in the final 2 episodes. It's like, what is happening?
Hey, it's totally possible that Halo Master Chief will never come back in season 2. Maybe it's just the Cortana show now.
Maybe it's just it's Cortana now. John's
and they
dead.
also at no point did they actually show the Halo. Well, they were on Halo in certain dream sequences.
If both if one of them was touching it for long enough, they got transported to the Halo in some sort of a weird dream space thing. Yeah. Very, very strange.
Well, I would like to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to think, right? Because season 2 was confirmed before, or wasn't it days before episode 1 dropped or something like that, right? So they've on their end, on the production end, they've known, okay, we're planning into season 2. So I'm hoping that there's some sort of big payoff, in season 2, because it seems like season 1 is ending on a place where I could see it being pretty divisive. I mean, the whole season has been pretty divisive for a lot of fans from what I've just been seeing online. So I'm hoping there's this big, this just so worth it, maybe not Marvel's Endgame kind of shit, but something cool where everyone's like, okay, you gotta stick with it. But when you get to the end of season 2, it's that's fucking cool,
Yeah. I mean, I would hope that they're building up to them getting to the Halo. But then that also brings up questions of if they're still planning on ignoring on avoiding previously established plot threads. What is that going to mean for the events of Fall of Reach? Or just the inclusion of the Flood. Tell you what, the Hunters were badass.
I was gonna say, they look fucking dope. And I did not know that they could separate from their armor.
Yeah, they're just a huge,
that is terrifying,
massive worms. They've never been allowed to be just the gross mess of worms in the games. I think some of the books talk about how when they're off duty, they'll just putz down into a pile of writhing worms.
Gross.
It's so cool. They look fantastic.
I'll say I watched the first 2 episodes, and nothing I've heard has made me think, I should watch the rest of it. So
Not even the fuck scene?
nope, don't care. That's, what am I, 14? No.
What about the
Yes.
John dying scene?
We just talked about before this came up about what I've spent in my off time doing. Do you think a shitty sex scene in a show is gonna mean much to me?
You're beyond that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, it is landing better than I thought it would. I kind of thought that this little segment of our show would be you two being like, I can't fucking believe this show. This is so bad.
It's not enough that it's like watching a car crash in slow motion that you like can't look away. Like it's not like that bad. But it's not that good. It's intriguing. I think it being so different has just like captured my attention to be like, oh well, are they going to do this thing or are they not going to do this thing? What's happening here? What's happening here? What's the story with that? It took until watching this TV show to realize that Halsey was Miranda Keys' mother. I never knew that.
Yeah, I had to Google that. And
is that like in the lore?
Apparently it is. It's not ever explained, I think.
It's like a totally canonical thing, but like Captain Keys, major part of Halo 1. Miranda Keys, major part of Halo 2 and onwards. And, Halsey is, of course, important throughout the entire series. And it's just, maybe come up like once in a data pad or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was like in one data pad in one of the games. And that's the only time it's ever mentioned.
Yeesh. Now, the real
From
question
Software
is...
approach.
Yeah.
The real question is, what comes first, co-op campaign in Infinite or Halo TV show season 2?
I believe Master Chief came first. Thank you.
Hey.
What was your question again? Sorry.
Yeah, you were thinking too much about the joke.
I was definitely thinking too much about the joke.
What comes first, co-op campaign in Infinite or season 2?
Season 2.
Of the TV
co-op
show.
campaign.
Yeah, I mean, probably, right? I mean, they're playing...
That can be our question for the masses for this week.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not co-op campaign, how fucking sad would that be? Like, poor Halo fans.
For the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of frustration right now. They openly admitted in a thing this last week about how they weren't looking at things from the right perspective. Like, they took away a lot of really popular skill jumps that the community was rightfully upset about. And it's kind of retooled their thinking around that in terms of making them better without removing them, making them a part of the game. So I think things are clicking for them, but again, there's still hit registration issues. There's still a lot of problems that have been there since launch that have not been resolved. That I don't know if they can recover if they don't make change. Because it is legitimately frustrating to play lately.
They can do a lot to make the game better, like in terms of adding more content, doing this, doing that. But if at the core it's broken, that needs to be priority.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the hit registration stuff is still wild to me that it's this big of a problem still.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that's
like,
a death knell for any shooter.
What is this now? 6 months? 7 months?
Yeah, it's a big reason why the community is not as big as it could be. Is people just it isn't always a problem, yes, but when it is, it's just like, what the fuck? It is so frustrating. Especially in a skill-based shooter, there shouldn't be question marks.
There should just
I
be
think
hit
that's
marks.
what frustration. Yeah, it should just be hit marks, and I think that's probably what frustrates the community the most. Is like, if there's a level of RNG to the game, how does that make it fun? Why wouldn't I just go play a Rogie Wogie at that point?
Right.
That's right. That's what I've been playing, a bunch of Rogie Wogies.
A bunch of Rogie Wogies. I think that does it for this week's episode of the TechRaptor podcast. We hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please feel free to leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening on, and just hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you can always get new episodes. And if you are watching us on YouTube or on our site, leave a comment down below and let us know, what do you think is going to come first? Season 2 of the Halo TV show, or the co-op campaign for Halo Infinite? Or if you want, just let us know what your thoughts are on the TV show. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you sad? Are you angry for different reasons? Let us know. We are always publishing news and features and reviews and so on throughout the week at techraptor.net. But if you want more of our show, we will be back next Monday. See you then.
It is fucking weird. There's like a game where Harley Quinn can just fuck up Shaggy.
I think Harley Quinn wants to fuck Taz.
I'm sure the Rule 34 is going wild right now.
I think it's going wild. I think it's going.
Oh, God. What kind of noises does he make? That's one thing that Rule 34 you don't get a lot of. You don't get a lot of sound.
Why would you want that?
You know what? You should be the change you want to see in the world. Put on your Twitter profile like Rule 34 voice actor, I guess. Is that what you want to go for?
That's what I want to aspire to be. What if I become the premier?
Hey, I believe in you.
Yeah. And you know what? The dream role is to voice the dude with the huge dick.